All right, let's get into it. So, Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, it's usually all about who's got the fastest chip, the sleekest design, you know the drill. But this year, 2026, there was a totally different vibe. Yeah, the phones were more powerful, but the real story, the thing everyone was talking about, was this new battleground for our data, and it's getting, well, physical. I mean, come on, this is the question, right? It's the one that sounds a little paranoid, but let's be real, we've all thought it. You're talking about wanting pizza, and suddenly your feed is just flooded with ads for Domino's. So, are they listening? Well, the industry is finally taking that fear seriously, and their new solutions go way, way beyond a simple software setting. The big buzzword that was just everywhere at the show was hardware-level privacy. The thinking behind it is actually pretty simple. If you can't be 100% sure that software can't be tricked or hacked, maybe you can trust a physical switch, one that you can literally see and touch. It's a huge shift in how we think about this stuff. And to be clear, we are not talking about some toggle you flip in your settings menu. You know, the kind of thing that a clever piece of malware could just flip right back on? No, we are talking about physical switches that literally cut the power at the circuit level. When you flip that switch, the microphone and camera are just dead weight. They're electrically off, there is no way to turn them on. It's real, undeniable control. So who took this idea and just ran with it? Well, that brings us to maybe the most talked about gadget for the super security conscious, the Hero Phone. You can think of this thing as a digital Fort Knox you can carry around in your pocket. But, as you can probably guess, that kind of peace of mind is going to cost you. Yeah, $1,400. That's a number that definitely makes you pause, right? This isn't just a phone at that point. It's a statement. It's a signal that true hardware-level privacy is becoming a premium, almost luxury feature. But what in the world are you actually getting for that much money? Okay, so this is the main event. The whole phone is built around two simple switches. That first one on the left, that's your anti-snooping shield. Flip it, and boom, the camera and mic are physically dead. The second one, though, that's the real go dark button. It's like a super airplane mode that severs everything: cellular, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. You're completely off the grid. A ghost. Of course, that's the trade-off, right? It's the ultimate security, but it also turns your smartphone into a very expensive paperweight until you decide to flip it back on. But look, the Hero isn't some one-trick pony. For that $1,400, you are getting a seriously high-end phone. It runs this thing called EOS, which is basically a version of Android that has had every trace of Google's apps and services surgically removed for privacy. But it's still packing 16 gigs of RAM, a really powerful processor, and a great camera. The whole point is for it to be an excellent phone that also happens to be a privacy vault. And this quote from the CEO, Victor Coquilla, really just nails what they're trying to do. Their goal isn't to create some frustrating, limited, dumb phone. It's to give you that maximum, hardcore, hardware-level security for when you need it, without forcing you to give up the powerful smartphone experience that, let's face it, we all depend on now. It's trying to be security without a total sacrifice of convenience. So the Hero Phone is for the hardcore crowd. But what about, well, the rest of us? The biggest phone maker on the planet, Samsung, is taking on a much more common, everyday kind of privacy problem: the person looking over your shoulder on the bus. Samsung's big new thing is the privacy display on the Galaxy S26 Ultra. You know those stick-on screen protectors that make it impossible to see your screen from the side? Well, this is that exact idea, but it's built directly into the screen itself. You just hit a button and your display becomes basically unreadable to anyone not looking at it straight on. Pretty cool, right? And as you can see from their new lineup, Samsung is definitely making this a premium, top-of-the-line feature. The whole S26 family is getting new AI tricks, but that physical privacy display, that's only for the most expensive Ultra model. It's just another piece of evidence that these physical privacy features are becoming a major reason to upgrade to the high-end stuff. So what we're really looking at here are two totally different philosophies on how to solve the privacy problem. You've got the Hero Phone on one side, which is all about absolute, all-or-nothing security for people who are deeply worried about digital spying. And then on the other side, you have the Galaxy S26 Ultra, which offers a super practical, everyday solution for the mainstream user who just doesn't want the guy on the train reading their texts. Okay, so away from all the serious privacy talk for a minute, MWC is also the place where companies just let their engineers go wild. This is where we see the concepts that are less about what you can actually buy and more about just showing off what's even possible. And believe me, 2026 did not disappoint. The show floor felt like something out of a sci-fi movie. Honor just went for it with something they called a robot phone. Get this, the camera actually pops out on a tiny robotic arm for ridiculously smooth videos. And then, just in case that wasn't enough, they brought out a full-size humanoid robot that started doing backflips on stage. Not to be outdone, Xiaomi, a phone company, rolled out Concept Hypercar, and Tecno showed off this slick, super-thin modular phone where you could snap on different cameras or speakers. This is where the future just gets weird, and a lot of fun.
So, from physical kill switches to backflipping robots, what does all of this actually mean for you the next time you're thinking about a new phone? Let's kind of boil it all down to the one big takeaway from MWC this year.
Here it is, the big takeaway. The entire conversation around privacy is changing. For years, we talked about it like a software problem. App permissions, ad blockers, that kind of thing. But now it's about the physical thing in your hand. Privacy is becoming a tangible feature, a piece of hardware that companies are using to sell their most expensive phones. And really, that leaves all of us with a pretty fascinating question to think about. As this trend grows, how much are we actually willing to pay for peace of mind? Will a feature that seems extreme today, like a physical kill switch, become totally standard tomorrow? Something to think about.